This is the Barbados Today evening news for Wednesday, May 30th. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. Our top story this evening, Prime Minister Mia Mottley says she will proceed with the use of injection wells decided by the former government as a short-term plan to mitigate the sewage spill on the south coast. Following a tour of the area this morning, Mottley said significant amount of funds have already been spent on the 4 wells, and based on the advice of the technical personnel from the Barbados Water Authority, it makes sense to stay the course for the time being. But Mottley says she is not prepared to pin the country's hopes for immediate relief from the 2-year crisis on a single solution.
That's one of the plans. As I said, that's only one option. That's why we're doing the outfalls as well. We hope that the combined impact of all of these things, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Ward, Mr. Halliday said, that Freedom's Point is option A, the injection wells were option B, $3.5 million has already been spent on them. Option C are the 2 outfalls that we're doing, and the permanent solution is the new plant. And whether the new plant takes modular pieces of equipment that can be used now to ease their pressure while we build the full plant, that is a clear option to us, and I would have said so to the country about 2 months ago. Why? Because we do not want to spend money twice. So if we can have modular pieces of equipment that help with some level of treatment now, while a full plant that may take 18 months to 2 years to build, then that makes a more sensible approach than buying something that can't be used again in the new plant. Money is not available for spending this, so we have to be very careful.
Mottley has also instructed the Barbados Water Authority, the Coastal Zone Management Unit, and the engineering consultants to prepare a cabinet paper on the best options. She says the situation is now a national emergency and no effort should be spared.
We intend to move to a level of treatment that will ensure that we don't have raw sewage coming up on the streets or going into the swamp or anywhere like that. It means that a number of options. The plant was originally built with the outfall at Needham's Point. That is obviously not working because there are blockages along the main. We are going to have 2 outfalls built. That is what I'm hearing from the Water Authority that will be proposed to us for the consideration of Cabinet. 1 8-inch main from this swamp, which as you can see is now almost all sewage, if not all sewage. And 2, 1 that we've asked for as well from the plant itself, which will be a 16-inch main. Both will go beyond the outer reefs so as to ensure minimal damage to the near shore.
In other news this evening, 1 Christchurch woman was injured this afternoon in a 2-car collision at the Clyde Walcott roundabout. The accident occurred shortly after 1 o'clock at the roundabout at Hothersall Turning in St. Michael. 1 vehicle, driven by Rochelle Cox of Emerald Park, St. Philip, collided with a car driven by Nicole Aline of Pitcher Hill, St. Patrick's, Christchurch. Aline's vehicle overturned in the carriageway, while Cox's vehicle mounted the central island of the roundabout. Aline complained of pain to her neck and right hand, and she was taken by ambulance to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for medical attention. That accident followed an earlier collision at the Barrow section of the ABC Highway this morning. It involved a car owned and driven by Leander Clark of Fitz Village, St. James, and a truck owned by C.O. Williams Construction Limited, driven by David Shepherd of Diamond Valley, St. Philip. Both vehicles were traveling towards the direction of the Pine Hill Dairy when they collided. The car was pushed onto the Jersey barrier as a result, and there was minor damage to both vehicles. No injuries were reported. Meanwhile, 1 insurance company is raising concern over the frequent road accidents. Marketing and Human Resource Manager of Cooperators General Insurance Company, Cheryl Ford, raised the issue in the wake of 5 road fatalities in recent days.
The accident rate is too high. The accident rate is too high. And you can't say, I can't tell you right now that it's because people are texting or driving. There's no statistics to say that. We can't say that, but we know that we have to curb the accidents. One of the things that I can tell you that people are not driving in consideration for others. They're not. Nobody's driving for themselves. You get to this corner, you want to get up, you're not looking, and you have to drive defensively. I think if we do that, then the speeding, drinking under influence, don't have any records to prove the reasons. But we are doing our part. I can tell you that we are cooperatives have been doing our part.
Chief Agriculture Officer Lennox Chandler is making another case for greater attention to be paid to using technology to develop the agriculture sector. Chandler was speaking this morning at the opening of a soil and equipment field day at the Central Agronomic Research Station. He pointed to the example of Israel, which he said has invested heavily in technology to grow its agriculture industry. And according to him, the same can be done in Barbados.
There's no reason why Barbados cannot move in that direction. We must not limit ourselves as to what we can do. And the fact is that technology has always been involved in agriculture. If you look at the sugar industry, we started out with the windmill, grinding canes. Then we moved to steam-powered equipment. Then we moved to modern sugar factories. We moved to vacuum pan technology to produce the crystallized sugar. We have cane harvesters, so nobody is out there with a bill cutting, other than 1 or 2 plantations who still hold on to the traditional way of harvesting canes. So there's precedence for use of technology. And in the coming months, the ministry will be acquiring even more technologies, because there are a number of new technologies for small-scale farming that for some reason or the other people don't import into Barbados. And I was on the internet only yesterday evening, about 7 o'clock at work, and I was looking through and seeing all the various planters and the handheld devices that you can use to plant in your own backyard garden. So these are the things that we will be acquiring and we will be demonstrating.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Warren Smith, says member countries can learn from Grenada as they seek to build resilience to natural disasters and economic shocks. Dr. Smith was addressing the 48th Board of Governors meeting of the CDB this morning. He noted that St. George's experience post-Hurricane Ivan in 2004, which damaged 200% of the island's GDP. The situation was worsened by Hurricane Emily a year later and the global financial crisis. Dr. Smith said Grenada's response to those disasters can serve as an example to other countries.
In 2014, and with financing from CDB and other development partners, the government of Grenada embarked on a comprehensive program of structural reforms. The main objectives were to restore fiscal sustainability, to strengthen the financial sector, and to set the stage for sustained growth. 2 groundbreaking initiatives in this homegrown program, as it was called, deserve, in my view, special mention. First, and in accordance with its 2015 Financial Responsibility Act, Grenada now sets aside 40% of the proceeds from its Citizenship by Investment program as contingency financing in the event of a natural disaster.
On the international scene, details have emerged about the staged fake murder of Russian journalist Arkady Babchenko. Babchenko was reported murdered in Kiev on Tuesday, but reappeared alive today during a televised briefing by the Ukrainian state security, who admitted to faking the killing. We get more in this Reuters report.
This Russian journalist was reported murdered in Kiev on Tuesday, but on Wednesday, Arkady Babchenko turned up to a briefing on his own death and thanked Ukrainian state security for saving his life. In an emotional address, he said he'd been reported dead as part of a special operation to thwart a Russian plot to kill him. He was sorry for the pain caused, particularly to his wife, but said there was no other way.
Over this month we were in constant contact. We thought things through and worked out the details. The result of that became this special operation, as a result of which one person has been detained.
State security said the plot was to kill 30 people, including the journalist, and that the person arrested had been paid by Russia to recruit a killer. Moscow said Ukraine used Babchenko as a propaganda tool. Ukrainian authorities said on Tuesday Babchenko was shot dead at his flat, found by his wife in a pool of blood. The news triggered a war of words between Ukraine and Russia, sending shockwaves through the media of both countries. Babchenko is a critic of President Vladimir Putin and Russia's policies in Ukraine and Syria. A former soldier in the Chechen War who became one of Russia's most prominent war correspondents. He fled to Ukraine after threats to his life.
That's news this evening. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also sign up to BT's WhatsApp news alerts and subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and on Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good evening.